So a guy with Tourette screamed the N-word at the BAFTA Awards, and we have a bunch of people that are terribly upset by that, but the guy also has a disability. It's to be expected. It's a huge mess.
They gave a warning before the show.
They did. They gave him a warning before the show. So we're gonna talk about it, talk about where people are coming down on this thing. So welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello. I'm going to try to speak.
She's gonna try to. She's usually very good at speaking, but
I am sick, but I could not turn down the opportunity to have words about Grace Randolph.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Here I am.
So Grace
it's sick be damned. Anyway,
Grace Randolph, fellow YouTuber and movie critic Grace Randolph, has stepped in it because she's basically like, yeah, hey, this guy had Tourette's, but it doesn't excuse him from saying
he had
the
to be
N-word.
thinking it. It's like, no.
He had to be thinking it. And there are a lot of people that are saying that, including some celebrities that I actually think are pretty cool. You know, Jamie Foxx, and they're saying, well, he's got to be thinking it if he said it. I'm like, no, this isn't alcohol. This is like, you could even be like consciously trying to stop yourself from saying it, and you're probably going to say it because it's top of mind or whatever. But for those of you who haven't seen, it was the stars of Sinners. It was Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo presenting at the BAFTA Awards. The clip is all over the place. You can go find it. I'm not going to play it here for obvious reasons. But they had another celebrity there who has Tourette's, and he screamed the N-word at these guys. And then I guess he left, and now it's a huge outrage. Like, how very dare you?
The reason the person was there to begin with was because they made a movie, I Swear, which was about, you know,
Tourette's.
him and Tourette's. Yeah. And it was doing a whole bunch for Tourette's, which is why they had him there. Because if you saw the movie, I mean, I'm just saying, it's the whole point was to try to raise awareness about Tourette's and how people involuntarily, you know, say things or blurt out things they can't control. And that's the point. And they gave a warning, so it's not surprising it happened. They told people it might happen. And now you got Gracie Poo over here being like, you know, oh, he did it on purpose because he was thinking it.
Yeah, so let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
So let's talk. The Guardian's got the story. We got the Guardian, Vanity Fair, outcry Royals BAFTAs after guest with Tourette syndrome shouts the M-word at Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. And apparently,
I get why they were shocked. I get.
I'd be like, what the hell?
Thing. But in this case, they even told them ahead of time that this could happen. What gets me is the fact that they didn't give themselves a lead time to, you know, beep out things. You know, like you do other shows, that should have been beeped out because it wasn't, you know, and they're all shocked. And I get it. It's a difficult situation because, yes, you're going to be offended and shocked that someone's saying that. But I don't think it was not intentional. I mean, I say swear words all the time. Be rest assured, mine are intentional.
But I bleep you out sometimes.
No, if I randomly yell stuff, it's because I mean to. So
that's your excuse. That's your excuse now. It's like you're just gonna say, "Hey, I can't help myself."
No, I can totally help myself. I just say I choose to say it. So I mean, I own it.
You know, it's for people who are not used to it. I think they think that it's just like, oh, every once in a while you might say something off color, whatever. It's like, no. People with Tourette's literally cannot help themselves. They say whatever. It doesn't even have to be top of mind.
Not all of them will swear, but people like there's different things that, you know, you can have sounds or different things. But in some cases, and that's why it was called I Swear. You know, his is a condition that he will say things, and they told people this.
Well, they said he swore, and he swore. So this is coming from The Guardian, which is really hard up for cash because, like, support us, big yellow button. Support us, big yellow button. Backlash mounts to BAFTA N-word controversy as Jamie Foxx and Wendell Pierce criticize outbursts. Foxx calls Tourette syndrome activist John Davidson's shouts at the film awards unacceptable, while Sinners production designers criticize BAFTA's throwaway apology. So they said that, they didn't apologize enough. So they said the fallout over Tourette syndrome activist John Davidson's outburst at the BAFTAs on Sunday continued after Jamie Foxx and Wendell Pierce expressed their dismay at the incident. Davidson attended the BAFTAs as I Swear, the film inspired by his life of dealing with hostility triggered by Tourette's was up for a number of awards. He was heard several times shouting during the ceremony, including using the N-word, while Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan were on stage presenting the evening's first prize. Foxx commented below, a post about the incident on social media saying, unacceptable. Nah, he meant that shit. Journalist Jamil Hill said on social media, black people are just supposed to be okay with being disrespected and dehumanized so that other people don't feel bad. And Wendell Pierce said, it's infuriating that the first reaction wasn't complete and full-throated apologies to Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan. The insult to them takes priority. It doesn't matter the reasoning for the racist slur.
I'm just, okay. It's a very difficult situation the way around, if we're being fair. I mean, you shouldn't be standing up there and being yelled the N-word at you. That under normal circumstances, okay? That being said, they made it abundantly clear this person has Tourette's. The I Swear movie was up for several awards because it's about him and about people with Tourette's. It's called I Swear, for pity's sakes, okay? You know, it's to be expected. It's very unfortunate timing. I'm sure he feels absolutely horrible about it. But I think blaming it necessarily on him isn't the right way to go. It wasn't the smartest thing ever to probably have him be at the award show in this regard. No, because you know what he's going to say. But at the flip side, they made it about him, so of course you want him to be there. And they gave warnings. What the problem is they didn't beat the damn thing out.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are having issues with is like, why didn't you bleep it out? I mean,
I don't know what they expected was going to happen.
I don't know. They certainly didn't expect that, because surely somebody who has a disease that makes you say the most off the wall stuff without any control, surely they would know not to be racist. They'd be anti-racist, and I mean, it's
we're going to talk about that in a minute, because what's a white guy, so obviously he's racist. He was thinking it. We're going to talk about that in a bit.
We will talk about that, because there's actually a black guy who put a video out who has the exact same condition, and he said, yes, I call people the N-word too. I don't mean to. It just pops out. And we'll get there. But the production designer said on social media she had a racial slur directed at her and criticized what she called the throwaway apology. I know we must handle this with grace and continue to push through, but what made the situation worse was the throwaway apology if you were offended at the end of the show. So they're basically, if we shadows have offended, whatever. Yeah. So BBC spokesperson apologized for the shout, saying some viewers may have heard strong and offensive language during the BAFTA Film Awards. Those arose from involuntary verbal tics associated with Tourette syndrome and was not intentional. We apologize for any offense caused by the language heard. And then Davidson himself put a statement out. He said he was deeply mortified. If anyone considers my involuntary tics to be intentional or to carry any meaning, I have spent my life trying to support and empower the Tourette's community and to teach empathy, kindness, and understanding from others, and I will continue to do so. I chose to leave the auditorium early into the ceremony as I was aware of the distress my tics were causing.
So he was there, he was invited. And he had to leave because him saying things out loud, even though they gave warnings. So my question is this: it's like, is there a flow chart or some kind of chart that's updated daily that you can follow to see who should be which people deserve more grace than others? Like what check boxes hold more weight than others? Because the dude has a medical condition. The movie based on him up for awards. He left because he involuntarily said something that was terrible, and I admit it was terrible. And but I don't think it was intentional. And intent matters. And it's like, so he had to leave the ceremony so he didn't upset others. But now they're all mad at him and going after him because they're basically saying he's a racist, which it doesn't mean that he's a racist. So what minority groups trump others is what I want to know. Is there a chart that we, if you're someone insults you, even if they have a special need, that's weighs more than if, somebody insults them with a special, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's obvious in this particular situation that racism or perceived racism is a bigger issue for some people than disabilities.
Yeah. And the thing is, he was there because there was a movie about him,
right? Basically,
that was about his disability. And this goes along with disability. Anybody who knows Tourette's would know this. And, they gave plenty of warnings and everything else. And I don't understand, I don't know how to word this. I get why people would be shocked. I'm not saying that it wasn't shocking that he said it. But the flip side is, I think a little understanding goes a long way.
Yes.
Intent matters.
So speaking of Grace
Randolph is... Oh, yeah. I wasn't even thinking about that. Damn, I missed my whole setup on that.
Yeah, so
she's sick.
she's she's getting her teeth handed to her. She is the top trending name right now. Wow, for all the wrong reasons.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Publicity.
Twitter.
Any publicity is good publicity, right?
Yeah, you make that money. You got blue check. You can make some money. Grace
She has
Randolph.
a lot to say about Tourette's.
I certainly want Mr. Davidson, who has Tourette's, to have a nice life, but that anyone would defend Jordan and Lindo going up in front of their peers in a professional setting on television and having to be called a racist slur is ridiculous.
To be fair though, Grace talks shit all the time, but she doesn't have the excuse of, having Tourette's.
At a certain point, this person says, Unbreakable Argonauts says, at a certain point, you have one of two options, except that this is an unfortunate reality of Tourette's,
Yes.
or basically say that nobody with Tourette's should be able to attend a public event from fear they'll embarrass a guest speaker.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no third option for what you're saying. And a reminder, this whole event was centered around a movie based on the guy with Tourette's.
I know. That's where I'm coming from here.
Nobody here is denying that Delroy and Michael B. Jordan were embarrassed by this, and nobody is denying that it's a really shitty thing to happen.
It's a very unfortunate situation the whole way around.
Seeing you double down on this is disheartening. Calling a disabled man despicable over things you can't control, and we're the ridiculous ones. Wow, I'm speechless. We've got, wow, you're pathetic. You've demonstrated you do not understand the disease. He didn't call anyone this slur. It just came out involuntarily. Please sit down. So X's take is a little bit different than BlueSky.
BlueSky is going to be, I can imagine.
BlueSky's all like, this is ridiculous. Plus, they won't let you say free Palestine.
So
that BBC.
They're mad. Okay, let me get this straight. BlueSky is as upset about the fact they blocked out free Palestine as they are about the situation.
Yes.
Wow.
F BAFTA for not nominating him, and F BAFTA for this, and F BBC for censoring free Palestine, and F BBC for not censoring the N-word. This person said it takes involuntary, but BAFTA not saying anything to Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan afterwards is a choice.
I agree. I think that they should have issued an apology to them. Again, even publicly when it happened, and then they should have used that as a teaching opportunity, a teachable moment as a teacher, again, to reiterate. It's like, this is why this movie's being celebrated, because this is something that people have to live with, and they don't do it on purpose, but it's also very harmful. Like if I was getting up there and someone just kept yelling, bitch, bitch, it would be a Tuesday. But I mean, if someone had Tourette's, I'd understand that wasn't their fault.
So this guy, Jonte Richardson's director, and he's stepping down from BAFTA now.
So what's going to happen is now, because of this unfortunate event, which it is unfortunate, there's like no way to spin this that it's not in some way suck. All the good will done from that film and for Tourette's has been completely flushed by the misunderstanding and backlash that's befallen it because of the handling by BAFTA. But I don't think he should be stepping down over it. Like, what was he supposed to do? Not bring the guy in and not celebrate that movie because the guy might say something. And it was the guy. I don't think they even asked him to leave. He left on his own to try not to embarrass himself or others. Even though he was excited to be there. Just asking a curiosity. So what are you supposed to do here? So you have, Tourette's, which is, a disease people have been around for years. There's a lot of people on TikTok and stuff that have Tourette's that do videos trying to explain their condition. And then you have a movie that's up for a bunch of awards because of the fact that the movie, was important and it was a big move for, the Tourette's community. You've done every announcement you could possibly do saying that this person could, maybe say things that were inappropriate, but it wasn't their control. And then because he says something when they're up on stage, I'm going to step down as an advisor, or I'm going to do this, or, whatever, because it's racism. It's not fucking racism. It is literally Tourette's. So whose fucking check mark is more important? That's where I'm just going to say it. Whose fucking check box is more important at this point? Because that's where we're at. It's like, it's an unfortunate situation. And it is. It's just, if worst case scenario, this would have been it, right? But it's like, why does a person who can't control what they say and was so upset that they hurt people's feelings they left a thing that was supposed to be celebrating them, Why does that matter less than you made them upset because you said the N-word?
So let's talk about that, because this is a guy here who is a black man with Tourette's, and he's basically like,
I'm just like, why does one checkbox supposedly mean so much more than the other, when statistically speaking, the one's much more covered and represented than the other, and that's why they were celebrating this film, because it was giving representation to people who don't get representation. And then your answer is, we're all going to step down and we're all going to be like, oh, how we should be issued all these apologies, which he did apologize, because he could not fucking control.
Okay, so this guy is the Office of the Public Advocate, Jamon D. I can't see his name. Oh, Jamon D. Williams. So he's from New York. And he said, as a black man with Tourette's, the public advocate has some thoughts on BAFTA Part 1. Okay, let's see.
I have Tourette syndrome, diagnosed over 30 years ago. As you might be able to tell, I'm also a very proud black man. I also have coprolalia, which means I sometimes tic socially unacceptable words, including the N-word. So you might imagine I have some thoughts on the BAFTA controversy. Let's go. So I know everyone has a lot to say on this incident, a lot of anger and outrage, which I understand, a lot of opinions. So I want to make sure we're able to put that outrage and required empathy in an intersecting controversy and issue with the information that's needed on a complicated thing. When I was elected over 15, 16 years ago, I was thought to be the first first elected official with Tourette syndrome. And thankfully, that is no longer the case. And people with coprolalia only make up about 10 to 30% of people who actually have Tourette syndrome.
Yeah, people don't understand that. Like, and I didn't understand that until this whole thing happened. Everybody just associates Tourette's with the outbursts and the tics, but that's not everybody who has Tourette's syndrome.
Well, the swearing and stuff's only 10 to the 30%.
Yeah.
I want to remember that it's not just a lack of a filter, it's an involuntary compulsion, whether it's vocal or body movements, and it can also include very bad intrusive thoughts. Now, before I was diagnosed, my mother saw a 2020 special. It actually had a man who was white, and his tic was one of his tics was the N-word. This was over 30 years ago. I'll pause there because I'm going to come back to it in a moment. Now, obviously, we want to practice care when we're speaking about the person who has Tourette syndrome, who is the ticker, because they also require some grace and some consideration.
See, that's what's getting me, is they're not giving him any grace or consideration. It's just automatically, you're racist, and we're going to run with that. And like I said, this is like the worst case scenario. If they were thinking that there could possibly be a bad situation, this was probably worst case that could ever have happened. And look, it's a very unfortunate situation. I'm not saying what happens right. What I'm saying what happened is not okay, but it's also understandable. And there needs to be all you're hearing about is how offended people are on one side, but you're totally ignoring the fact that this was about bringing light to people with Tourette's. And then the person demonstrates Tourette's in real time with the I can't pronounce what he said, the 10 to 30% thing.
Coprolalia, I think coprolalia.
Whatever that part is, demonstrates it, showing you how he can't control it. And then your guys' response is, oh, it was so embarrassing. He did it on purpose. It's like, are you serious right now? Again, which check marks matter over others? Because is there like a chart that we can keep track of so that we all know we're all on the same page?
It's the I remember, oh gosh, it was probably 7 or 8 years ago when we talked about everybody talks about the sunshine skit. I don't know if anybody.
Yeah, I was thinking about the sunshine skit.
But they basically talk about the progressive stack, which it becomes like the more check boxes, the more oppressed you are, your needs outweigh. So in this case, if it were a black man that did that, since he'd be a black man with Tourette's, it would be fine. But because it's a white man and there's already issues, people are already having issues with the BAFTAs for whatever reason. It's a whole nother story, which I'm not going to get into because it's boring as fuck. But it's, you know what I'm saying? So they've already got other issues with the BAFTA. They've already got other issues with the BBC. So they're going to use this opportunity and this guy's disability now to throw shit at the BBC. So, hey BBC, I hate Doctor Who, but
I mean, look, everybody wants to throw shit at the BBC. I mean, that's not new. But what I'm just saying is, it's an awful situation, and I don't think there's anybody really at fault in the situation, because it's just it is what it is, and it's not. And it was, like I said, intent matters, and they keep forgetting intent matters.
Yeah.
And he did not intend to say things like that. He even left so he would not upset. But he left again. They were celebrating the movie about him, and about based on him about Tourette's. It was a bunch of words.
How hard it is to look at Tourette's as he.
Yes, and to just prove his point.
Yes.
He had to leave because he was afraid he'd say something else to hurt other people's feelings, and you still are all dogpiling him.
Yep.
I'm just sitting here like, I think it's awful that he shouted that word and those guys had to hear it. I do. I think that's terrible. That being said, I think if you weigh the scale here about this whole situation, I think the other guy has a little bit, there should be a little bit of, he said grace given to him and empathy and understanding, and they're not even willing to do that. You did it on purpose because you're white. It's like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Well, that just shows where the mindset
Maybe you should demonstrate the grace you demand you want.
All right, let's hear this guy out.
Regardless of the reason, a word like the N-word can cause a lot of harm. There's some spaces where it's not just about whether you're making noise, whether you're moving in a way that people might be a little uncomfortable. This is a very specific thing.
Yes,
I'm only speaking
agreed.
about the N-word and use of it in different spaces. You also have to provide empathy and care for people who are receiving it, like Delroy Lindo, like Michael B. Jordan, like the thousands, if not more, of people who heard it. They deserve some care and compassion as well. And I believe that's where the ball was dropped.
Yes, they should have. Can you pause for a second? They should have had an apology right then and there, and they should have handled it.
Yeah,
better. And they should have beeped it out. And and I'm not disagreeing with that. I mean, I think on the circumstances, they let them keep going, and it would be very hard and awkward. And to their credit, they managed to do that. That's a credit to them. The problem is how everybody's treating the other person now after the fact.
Like he's intentionally racist. He's intentionally being malicious.
So that doesn't mean that at all.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing, look.
He might be, for all we know, but that doesn't mean that just because Tourette said that.
This whole situation is just one big colossal fuck up. I mean, it really is. It's an unfortunate situation that I think maybe people are looking at, like the BBC. Definitely probably could have done more about that. They definitely could have done more about it.
They definitely could have, yes.
And no, I don't know if anybody's arguing that. Like, I don't think anybody's hand waving it like, well, whatever, he's got Tourette's, deal with it. But then to sit there and be like, this guy's an actual racist, and what I'm saying? Like,
if there ever was a case of where two things can be true at once, this is it.
Oh yeah,
it can be true that shouting that word was probably harmful, detrimental to them, embarrassing to them, and sad. Truth. It's also true that he didn't do it on purpose and he can't control it. And the event was a lot of words were up for the movie that they were making about Tourette's, and this is a case in point. Two things can be true at once. They both, I think, in a way, are victims of this whole situation.
And yeah, the BBC definitely could have handled it. You think it would have? I mean, I'm gonna be honest. You think, knowing the situation, knowing what this guy goes through, you think there would have been like a contingency plan or something?
Well, they gave warnings and stuff, but like you should have it out, and you should have been like apologizing, and they shouldn't have made him. I mean, I don't think they made him leave, but they should have done what they could to keep him there. They probably went along with it because they were embarrassed.
He chose to leave.
I know he chose to leave, and that's sad. So like, it's a basically a no-win situation where two things are true at once and two people are embarrassed. What the difference is, after they could have been handled better to try to alleviate the problem from the BBC and BAFTA. But what I'm upset about is after the fact is the way people are behaving in regards to this, which is just proving the reason why the movie had to exist in the first place.
Yeah. Let's finish this guy's video here and then we'll wrap it up.
There's some ways I want to talk about how we could have and how BAFTA and others can do better in the future. Back to that 2020 special. That white man who had tics of an N-word, what he used to say was nickels, pennies, and dimes. He augmented it in a way. And I learned to do that when I was diagnosed.
Okay, so apparently he's got more about basically what you can do to manage it. I mean, regardless, like it's done, right? There's nothing you can do about it now. You can't like undo it. But I mean, to see people like Grace Randolph that kind of prides herself on being progressive, just be like,
well, that's just it. It's automatic because he's a white guy. It's because he's a racist, and it's not the case. And like again, I can see why they're upset. I don't blame them for being upset, but I also understand that you can't blame this guy that he blurted that out either. But they are all quick to point blame on him because he's not black and he's white. But then a black person has the same problem with the same tic, and I don't know. It just two things can be true at once. both sides are valid in their reaction to it. But I think that blaming this poor guy and like making him apologize and everything else for something that it's going to set Tourette's people back years now. Over.
Yeah, that's the wild thing. Like, this whole thing was supposed to be like, hey, this is going to help people with Tourette's gain acceptance. Now there's probably more backlash because of it.
Yeah,
like
it's
wild.
awful.
All right, we're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.